Hey SPN family, I'm Steph with Creation and welcome to the final weekend of this mega super celebration of virtual experiences featuring the cast of Supernatural. It's been an amazing ride and thank you for being a part of this family. Just a reminder that the top tipper wins a 5-minute one-on-one video meet and greet with Rob right after this panel, so make sure your top supporter information is updated with your current email address. To do that, under the Stage It screen, you'll see where it says Top Supporter Rewards. Scroll to the link that says Complete Your Top Supporter Information. If you'd like to tip, click the green tip button on the bottom left-hand corner of your Stage It screen. All right, next up today is someone who's not only an actor, writer, and a musician, but he has raised the bar at our Supernatural conventions with his co-hosting, and he keeps our stages rocking with his band Loud and Swain. Please welcome Rob Benedict.
Hey, everybody. Hi. Woo-hoo. How's it going? Well, I wish I could see your faces, but this is a great substitute. I'm glad we get to talk to each other like this. I have my Stage It open so I can see all your comments. I'm watching you. I hope you, well, I was gonna say, I hope you enjoyed the end of Supernatural. I know it was controversial, but we worked really hard on it, and you know, endings are hard. But I thought they did a great job, and some of the acting, I think Jared and Jensen and Misha in the final episodes all did incredible work, and I was just excited to be a part of it. All right, so you've got lots of questions I see, so I'm going to try to answer some. All right? All right. Noriko34 says, "Hi, Rob. What happened to Chuck when Jack took his powers? If he died, where'd he end up? In the empty or anywhere else?" Okay, I don't think Chuck is dead. I think that he is just, he doesn't have God in him anymore. And I think he's just isolated. I think, yeah, it's kind of his worst nightmare because he's not God anymore. He's not in control and he's alone. And so I think that's, you know, that's punishment enough for him. So, you know, what I think is kind of interesting is that Chuck, you know, if we ever revamp the show, fingers crossed, I don't know anything. I'm just telling you from my perspective, if they do, you know, we get back together and do a movie in a couple of years, I think Chuck could still come back, but he's just a regular dude again. So, yeah, so he's just he's just a hermit. He's just a hermit. He's alone. But he is on Earth. He's just alone, and God is not inside him anymore. He's an empty vessel. Yeah, so there's that. And I want to say something else about the finale. And, you know, again, people have extreme views about it, and you're completely allowed to have your own view of, you know, what happened. I just want to remind you that in the finale was the first time that Chuck was not writing the story. So you can reason that Chuck this whole time has been bringing the boys back, you know, finding a way to keep them going so that he could keep writing the story. And what happened in these last 2 seasons is that he got really selfish and made it all about him. And that was his mistake. But yeah, so it was the first time where, you know, yeah, they're just on a random, you know, hunt like they always do. And Dean has that unfortunate thing happen where he dies, and that unfortunate thing happened like death. But you know, there's no evil writer in charge going to, oh, no, we're going to save him from that and keep him going because I want to keep manipulating him. So to me, that was sort of in essence what was happening there. So in a way, you know, Chuck kept them going because he wanted the story to keep going until he didn't anymore. All right, REB17, Reb17, Rebecca. Hi, Rob, I'm Rebecca. Did you find Chuck's ending fitting considering he disliked humanity? Well, yeah, I mean, I thought it was fitting because he just got too wrapped up and he thought he was trying to manipulate everything until the very end. And he wanted the ending to be this grand thing, you know, and you know, he so enjoyed Sam and Dean, and he enjoyed, you know, manipulating them, and he thought for a second that it would be this great ending would be to be killed by them, and they didn't. So, you know, like I said, just being left alone by himself without any powers was an appropriate ending for him. But yeah, you know, in terms of disliking humanity, yeah, I wouldn't say he he just was like disgusted, I guess, by his creations, is what he said. But I think he got a little bit just egomaniacal, and that was his downfall. So yeah, hopefully there'll be time for redemption for Chuck. That's what I hope. I hope hopefully, you know, if this franchise finds a way to come back together and make some kind of TV movie or something, I would love for there to be a Chuck to be there, to come back in the story in some way as just a human being. I'd like him to be that human being he was when he was like hoarding toilet paper. I want that Chuck back. So we could have that Chuck back. I think everybody would be okay with that. Okay, Mila Trancy. Hi, Rob. I'm Mila, an actress as well. Thank you for your work and your music. How did you prepare yourself to play this huge character? Hi, Mila. Happy that you're an actress. Good luck to you. Keep at it. Go artists. How did I prepare myself to play, this huge character? Yeah, it's, you know, the Chuck went through so many changes from just being, you know, a prophet, and, you know, thinking he was just this lowly writer writing these trashy books, and then finding out he was a prophet, and then come to find out he's God. So it went through all these transformations for me as an actor, because even if you believe Chuck knew all along he was God, which maybe he did, I certainly didn't. I found out he was God at the end of season 5 when everybody else did. And so, yeah, so it took adjustments, you know, but certainly the God part, it was a huge adjustment going from the sort of likable, down on his luck, oh gee shucks Chuck, to being this almighty, evil, powerful guy. It was this, you know, and trying to sort of still keep those making sense in the same person. So it was a lot of work, and but it was fun. It was really fun, really. And you know, when I got to play Evil Chuck this last year, as much as I know people did not like me, it was still, as an actor, it was fun to play. Yeah, so it was cool. I have a funny story. At the end of last season, it was right when the Evil Chuck sort of started to come out, end of season 14, and I had that scene where I broke the guitar, and I like was sharp with Jensen. I can't remember if I said enough or stop or something like that. And it was coming out kind of like weird, like enough, and like still that other Chuck. And so I said to Jensen, I was like, I feel like I'm not getting it yet. And he was like, well, just say it like I'd say it. I was like, okay. So I went full Dean on that line. I was like, enough. And I was like, oh, there it is. So Evil Chuck was channeled a little bit by Angry Dean. So there's that. Let's see. Ebba has a question. Hi, Rob. I'm Ebba. Huge fan. Thank you, Ebba. Can you tell us a bit about the podcast, about how the podcast is done? Any guests coming up? Jared, question mark. So, yeah, we have talked to Jared. Jared wants to do it. And of course, we've wanted Jared since the beginning. He's an incredibly busy man who's got a brand new TV show he's working on that he's also producing, which you know. And so, yeah, we're just trying to get Walker to have the time, trying to get an hour to do it. So we're just working it out with him, finding the right time. We'll have him, we'll have Misha, all your favorites. And we really, you know, we're going to, our idea about our podcast, and for those of you who don't know, Richard Spate and I do a podcast, Kings of Con, the podcast. And we release a show every week. And then if which you can listen to wherever you listen to podcasts. And then on Patreon, Patreon, we have this like VIP group that if you join this for like $10 a month, you get these special, you get the video of every podcast, and Rich and I do like private little Monday morning check-ins, and we release some extra stuff. It's you know, it's fun. It's something that we just decided to do in lockdown, and it's kind of grown into this sort of bigger thing. So anyway, the idea is that we have actors on the show who have been to conventions. So not necessarily just Supernatural. We've had Tom Ellis from Lucifer and Rachel Harris from Lucifer. We've had Kurt Fuller, who's on Supernatural, but he was also on Psych and lots of other stuff. And Greg Grunberg is going to be in an episode coming up, who's in Star Wars and Star Trek movies. We want to have Michael Rosenbaum on soon. So anyway, so it's lots of fun if you want to check it out. Kings of Con, the podcast. And Jared, yes, we'll be there. We just have to have somebody pin that guy down. And he's very, very tall, so he's a hard guy to actually pin down. One of my favorite things about, it's a funny little story again, about the last fight that I did with the boys, which was very fun to do, very fun to shoot, and maybe painful to watch, but fun to shoot. I was above them on a hill, so I had the upper ground. So I was like eye to eye with them. But in reality, Jared's 6'4" and I'm 5'7". So he's almost two of me's. But anyway, tall guy. I'm not so much, except if I'm on a hill. Okay. Sherlock's Curls says, hey, Rob, what is something you personally think of your character that isn't canon? Well, I guess I'll tell you this. I mean, this is never really acknowledged other than, maybe it is. I don't know. I think my character is Eric Kripke. I think that my character, the original purpose behind him is that he's Eric Kripke. And when Eric was still writing for the show, of course, Eric, who now has created The Boys on Amazon and gone on and working on other stuff, but his last episode was Swan Song, the final episode of season 5, and that's when he kind of revealed that I was God, and I had kind of a love letter to the show, and I'm at a typewriter, I'm typing it out, so it's very clear that that's what I'm writing. And obviously Chuck was always the person who wrote the books that became the show. So I don't know, whenever I got stuck on a line or on why I would say something or do something when I was God, I would just think back to the fact that I'm a writer. I'm the writer who's writing the show. I'm God in the sense that I'm creating the show. Eric Kripke was the God of Supernatural because he conceived Supernatural, and he created Sam and Dean. So in that same way, Chuck was too. It's just Chuck is Eric Kripke gone bad. Eric Kripke getting a little bit too much, making it more about himself. So, and that's, what happened with Chuck, but that's what I always go back. It's not, I don't go back to the Bible. I go more back to like this metaphor of Chuck being the writer of the show, breaking the fourth wall a little bit, the meta version of Chuck. And I guess they did hint to that. I don't know if you'd call that canon or not. Besides that, I think the other thing that gets lost is that Chuck really loves the boys. He really does love them. He really does. He just has a weird way of showing it. Even though he's kind of abusive. Anyway, I'm seeing all your questions go up over here. And I love it. I love that there's so many people here. Thank you for being here. And anyway, okay, so SPXCEDUST, Spixie Dust. Spixie Dust says, hey, Rob, if you could have any of Chuck's powers, which one would you choose? Whew, man. I just would really love, I've always wanted to do this anyway. I just really would love to snap my fingers and boom, I'm in another place, if like we're having a conversation and I'm like, let's go someplace nicer, boom, and we're on the beach, you know? Or how many times have I talked to a friend at night and they're like, yeah, I'm just drinking a glass of wine, watching my favorite TV show. Man, I wish I was there with you. Boom. I mean, that would just be cool. And I'm not asking for a lot, just a little bit of like, whatever you call that, auto transformation into another location. That's just the scientific term. Yeah, I guess it would be that. I like that. I also wonder how Chuck knows in his mind. Sometimes he snaps his fingers and he changes locations, but sometimes he snaps his fingers and people die. So I don't know how he must be a different type of snap. I never really figured that out, but I just thought it. Thank you for the question, Spixie Dust. Raisewinks1 says, hi, Rob. If you could be on any TV show, past or present, what would it be? If I could be on any TV show, past or present, what would it be? I think it would be, let's see. I would love to have been in Cheers. I would love to have been in MASH. I would love to have been in Game of Thrones. I'd love to have been one of the friends in Friends. It would have been fun to be on The Office. Breaking Bad. That would have been great to be Breaking Bad. I actually auditioned for Breaking Bad. But yeah. Yeah, it was, yeah, but yeah, I would love to have been on that show. And yeah, well, there's about 5 for you. Thanks for the question. Hunter Life SPN. Hunter Life SPN says, hello, my name is Victoria. Question is, do you have any favorite food? Which one? Well, I like popcorn. I really, really, really like popcorn. It's not a full meal, but it's just the best snack ever. I recently bought a popcorn popper, like the old-timey popcorn popper where you put it into the thing and you put the oil in and then it until it goes like a movie-style popcorn popper. And it's really awesome. And I literally will make that and just keep it full. And then you turn the light on and it kind of reheats it. It lasts about 3 days. It's awesome. So I love popcorn. A lot of people know this. I like corn nuts. They're really bad for your teeth, but they're just so yummy. I like things that just sort of keep my mouth going. I mean, popcorn doesn't really taste like anything. It tastes like the salt that's on it, but man, I do love it. I like pretzels a lot too. I like shrimp, like all sorts of shrimp dishes. When I grew up, you know, we didn't have a lot of money, and I grew up in Missouri, and we, like when you'd have shrimp for dinner, that was like fancy. That was fancy food. You'd go to Red Lobster, eat for like Shrimp Fest, and you get shrimp. So I still had that in my brain that shrimp is like, ooh, fancy. It's a fancy night out. I'm having shrimp. All my friends know that, so they send me pictures of their shrimp dinners a lot. But you gotta be careful with shrimp. You could OD on shrimp. You could have not like seriously OD and die, but like it is possible to have too much shrimp. So sometimes I have too much and I just gotta like just go back to the popcorn for a little bit, let it wear off, and then I'm back. Wingtrap says, morning from Australia. How is it working with Rich as a director? Well, good morning, Wingtrap from Australia. Thank you for being with us. Rich is awesome. Rich is great. I really like, and I'm not just saying this because he's my friend, but he's a great director. What all the actors really like about him as a director is that he's an actor, so he's an actor's director. In that he knows how to talk to us, and he knows how to, you know, get the right performance. You know, some directors are really good at like setting up the shot, or telling the story through a series of shots, you know, orchestrating a scene through that. Rich is good at that, but he's also really good at just talking to the actors. And so he'll come up with, you know, fun thing. Ooh, try it this way this time. That was great, but try it this way. Or, you know, he'll yell things out. When we did Kings of Con and he directed that, he could just yell things out in the middle of the scene, because we'd improv sometimes. Like, you know, he'd come up with something funny that a character should say, like, say this, you know. And so it's a really fun way to work. And then when I got to work with him twice on Supernatural, and my only complaint is that I didn't get enough, because both of those episodes I didn't have a ton to do. But yeah, he's great. It's very gratifying working with Rich. But you know, don't ever tell him I said any of that. No, I'm kidding. I just look forward to working with him again. Jenny's son says, in that last scene, when the boys drive away, how hard did they try to spray you with dirt and gravel? That's a funny question. They didn't. I guess it was just inherent that was how it was written, that they were speeding away and gravel was, you know, being spit all over me. And I'm just going, guys, wait. But I will say one thing about that scene is it was written like, you know, the guys drive away, and I think it was just written that, you know, Chuck's left alone while the dust is like spurting all over him, and he's just, you know, going, guys, wait, guys. You know, it's kind of like that. And I kind of found something on the day when I did it that was not, I don't think, there originally, which was just sort of this real panic and sadness for Chuck. I mean, I guess we could have played it kind of comedic, like, wait up, guys, what about me? But I felt like there was something real heavy going on with Chuck. It really was his absolute worst nightmare. And I could relate to that, because it kind of is my worst nightmare too, is just being left alone. So that's what I went with. I feel like I've been talking so much. I'm not used to this. How's everybody doing? Are you guys doing okay? I love seeing all your questions. Hi, everybody. Where are you in the world? Real quick, like, type out where you are. I'll wait, because there's a delay. But where are you in the world? Happy birthday. Happy birthday if it's your birthday today. Happy birthday from Chuck. Pretty soon you'll get to that question I asked. Where are you in the world? Like, are you in Mexico? Okay, Mexico, Brazil, Virginia, England. There it is. Colorado, Russia, Germany, San Diego, Europe, India, Mexico, Myrtle Beach, Virginia, Chicago, UK, Russia, Italy, UK, Illinois, California, Fresno. Very, very cool. Oh boy, am I back? Okay. All right, I'm back. Okay, sorry, I thought I was off. Okay, okay. Hi, my name is Sam. Hi, Sam. This is Castiel's Trenchcoat. Hi, Castiel's Trenchcoat. I hope you're doing well. What is one strange thing you believe in? What is one strange thing you believe has an absolute right and wrong way to do it? That's a great question, Sam. There is a right way and a wrong way to do it. Gosh, I think that about a lot of things. Well, let's see. I think there's a right way to tie your shoes. I'm going to say it. I know it's controversial, but I I don't understand the method where you make one loop and then you make another loop and you wrap those loops together, and it just doesn't make sense. I go loop and then around and then loop and then boom. That's just, I feel like that's the right way to do it. I feel like there's a right way and a wrong way to eat eggs. I don't feel like you should eat eggs with ketchup. I'm sorry. I just feel like ketchup is for burgers, and eggs should just be like salt and pepper. So I feel strongly about both of those things. Ginge McMeeking says, "Hi Rob, really sad I didn't meet you this year. I'm sad too. This year has been just a cluster F. What kind of part-time job Chuck would get since he's human and needs to support himself?" That is a great question. I see him maybe working at a gas station, just sort of one of those lonely gas stations out in the middle of nowhere, like a gas and sip, but not like a fancy gas and sip where it's like you've got really nice bathrooms and no, but this is like a middle of nowhere. It's like one little room. They got, some Funyuns and pretzels and potato chips, waters, and maybe an old garage where you can get your oil changed and a couple of pumps. Nobody ever goes there. It's out in the middle of nowhere, but he's working out there. And I think he's probably reading some books and just spending a lot of time in isolation. Maybe he's going to try writing again, or maybe he's not going to write because he's just been burned by that. So maybe he's reading. He's listening for once, and meditating. But yeah, I see him out in the middle of nowhere wearing one of those gas station jumpsuits. All right, Oxan, hello, says Rob, exclamation point. How was it like to work with the cast of Lucifer? I can't wait to see you in it. Love from France. Hi, Oxane. Hello. Hello, France. Bonjour. Ça va? Oui, ça va. Comme ci, comme ça. Moi, j'adore travailler en Lucifer parce que Tom Ellis est un bon homme. Tom's a great guy. Really loved working on Lucifer. My first episode is the last episode of the season that's on Netflix now, but they have not released it yet. I'm not. I also play kind of a bad guy on that show as well. So prepare to not like me a lot on that either, but just come back to this. Just know that in real life, I'm an actor and I'm a pretty decent guy, but sometimes I play parts that you want to slap on the face. That's just the way that it is. I get a lot of things on Twitter where people are like, F you, Rob, or F you, Chuck. Most people say, I like you, Rob, but I hate Chuck, which I can respect that. Even though I love Chuck because I played Chuck, but I know he's a bad dude. I mean, I know he went against the protagonist of Supernatural, and that was bad. But I do think there is some good in him somewhere. So anyway, Lucifer, you may not love the character I play, but I was really excited to do it. I loved working on that set. It was really fun, and it looks like I'm going to go back and do a few more this year. So I'm looking forward to that. Really excited. Hi, Rob. I'm Sarah. Hi, Sarah. This is S2OLA_20. Do you enjoy playing a villain or a good guy more? Also, any acting tips? Much love. Hi, Sarah, and much love back to you. That's a good question to come after that last question, which is that it's really fun to play a bad guy because I'm I'm not a bad guy in real life. So it's like you're getting permission to be someone that you're not, which is why we get into acting in the first place, right? What I love about acting is it gives you this freedom to embody a person that you may not already be. Certainly, there's some roles I play that are a little more like me. You know, I always said that when Chuck began in season 4, it was a little bit more like me. I'm a little more like the Chuck in the episode The End, where I'm hoarding toilet paper. Like, I'm a little bit more like that. Certainly more like that than I was season 15 Chuck. But you know, that's what I love about it. So it's juicy and fun to play the villain. You know, I always love watching, you know, I think Mark Shepard and Mark Pellegrino did such a good job of embodying those roles, because and they did give you such great lines to say. So that part of it was really fun. You know, I don't love being universally hated by fans, but yeah, no, I do like playing those roles. It's fun. I wouldn't say I'd rather play a villain. I just like playing eccentric people that are just not normal. Something's a little bit off about them, and I do find myself playing those roles a lot. You know, acting tips. You know, it's. I mean, one thing I would say is just that, like, do the work that you can to prepare to learn how to lose yourself in a role. To look at it like that, like someone's giving you the keys to the car, and in this one instance, it's okay. It's okay to crash. You know, it's okay to fail. Just try it out. Just let yourself be loose enough to try anything. And the worst thing that can happen is you're like, that wasn't right. And then you try it again. But that's what can be so freeing about being an actor, is you can play these roles and do these things. You know, I mean, a very basic example is like, I'd never lay a hand on Jensen or Jared in real life. A, they're two of my best friends, but B, they're much bigger than me and they could kick my ass. So, but in the show, I was, I had the ability to be tougher than them, to be more powerful than them. And as funny as that is, it's actually very serious too. Like that Chuck did have that power. So, to play that character, that when Jensen as Dean comes up to me and says something threatening, like Rob as Chuck is not worried about that. Even though Rob in real life would be like, hey dude, what's going on? Rob as Chuck has the freedom to be like, I'm not bothered by that. So it's kind of fun to put those pants on for a day. Anyway, I hope that helps in some way. There's just the freedom in it, in real life, I'm a pretty neurotic, sensitive guy. But as an actor, you're getting permission to be free, be who you want to be, or be who you normally aren't, but you're given permission to be someone that you're not. Leanne says, what new habits have you picked up during quarantine? Well, let's see. I drink a lot more. Not like to the level where you should be worried about me, but certainly I like to have a drink, and it's just I have the time to do it now. But the good habits I've developed are that I'm writing a lot. I've written maybe 40 songs in lockdown. Writing a screenplay right now with Rich, and lots of other fun stuff. So that's good. And I've started a podcast that I told you about just now. So there's that. Samora from Texas says, hi, Rob. My name is Sarah. Oh, Sarah Mora. Hi, Rob. My name's Sarah. What was your favorite Chuck line? That's a good question, Sarah. Hi, Sarah from Texas. My favorite Chuck line. Well, can I give you a couple? I love hoard toilet paper. I think that was such a funny bit because it's true. And turns out this year I was right? When the end is near, hoard toilet paper because you're going to need it. Hoard it like it's made of gold. I thought that was a funny line. I always thought, too, in my very first episode, that when he busts through the door and he says, I am the prophet Chuck. I always thought that was really funny. I am the prophet Chuck was funny to me. And I kind of liked at the in the episode, Don't Call Me Shirley, like after I sing Fare Thee Well. And then I finally meet the boys again for the first time as God, season 11. And I say, maybe we should talk, or I think we should talk. That was kind of a cool moment as well. All right. Aisa Ribbons says, hey, Rob, if there's any artist dead or alive you want to write a song with, who would it be? I would love to write a song. Well, I would love to have written a song with John Lennon. That would have been pretty amazing. And currently, I'd love to write a song with either Eddie Vedder from Pearl Jam or Tom York from Radiohead. I think Eddie Vedder is an incredible lyric writer, and I feel like I could learn so much. I have learned so much just from reading his lyrics, listening to his lyrics. And Tom York is just like one of the most beautiful melodic songwriters. I just love his melodies. They're always in kind of a minor key, but they're so good. And I would love to sort of pick his brain as well and write a song with him. Both of those guys actually met, but under weird circumstances where I wasn't able to be like, let's write a song together. It was like kind of a weird late night party kind of situations where I'm like sitting at the same table with them, and different situations. But both times I made a fool of myself and didn't make an impression. Anyway, Matt Sanchez says, hi, Matt. Hi, Rob. What aspect of your character do you wish was explored more? Well, there's a lot. On the show Supernatural, it really essentially wasn't about me, which was Chuck's problem. It was about Sam and Dean. So, but if given the chance, I would love to explore a lot more, just in terms of, what the background is. When did God go into Chuck's body? Like, at what point did Chuck become God? Was he a baby and God went into him then, or was he a full-grown adult and God went into him then? And if so, what was the scenario? What was Chuck doing before that? Was he this down and out writer when God came into his body, used his body as a vessel? So I would love to explore more about that, his background as a human being. I also think it's supposed to be an episode this season where I was going to take the boys and hop around to other different worlds that I'd created. And one of those, it would have been like changing channels a little bit. And one of the worlds was going to be another show. And they pitched it as it was going to be Riverdale. So we're going to be having a crossover with Riverdale. I wish we could have done that. It's another thing I wish we would have explored. Krista Martin, hi Krista, says, is there an album that made you rethink things or change your life, opened your eyes to something? Mine is Make Yourself by Incubus. That's a great album. I would also say, what's the morning glow, what's the Incubus album? Morning, you're saying it right now, but I can't hear you. Incubus, morning view. I love that album. That really did a number on me. But an album for me that really made me rethink things and change my life, I would say, is OK Computer by Radiohead. I really, I'd say that's one, but that's one that profoundly affected me when it came out. And I just listened to that album over and over and over and over again and dissected it and just, I just couldn't believe how awesome it was, and it was like nothing else I'd ever heard before, and I felt like it was the equivalent of like hearing a Beatles album in the late 60s for the first time when it came out, you know, as opposed to like discovering the Beatles 20 years later, but like hearing it in the moment when it came out. To me, it was that kind of album that changed music. Yeah, besides that, there was, you know, something about the early grunge revolution that I loved. I mean, hearing 10 for the first time, the Pearl Jam album 10, hearing Nirvana Nevermind for the first time. And I remember my first thought with both those albums was like, wow, this is the hardest rock I've ever listened to. It feels funny now because it doesn't seem as hard to me anymore. Anyway, but yeah, my answer for the test would be OK Computer. And Radiohead's album Kid A would be a close second to that for the same reason. Yeah. Thanks, Krista. Maria Rosso says, oh, you're from Colombia? Wow, thanks. Hi. How are things down in Colombia? Well, sending lots of love to Colombia. Hey, Rob, what do you think happened to Becky and her family? They're not gone. They're just away. I mean, that's what Chuck says. They're not gone. They're just away. So I don't think they died. He's kind of like took them away somewhere. So, but when he was, after Jack took over, I think we have to believe that Becky and her family were restored back on Earth, and they're okay. They're back. They don't know what happened to them. They just continuing their conversation, and you know, life goes on. Maybe Becky kind of remembers, but I think her children and her husband are good. So yeah, that's good that Chuck didn't kill them. He just sent them away, and I think now they're back. Thanks, Maria. Last question. It's last question. It's last question. It's last question. It's last question. Scooby bop bop beep bop doo 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 bop bop beep bop doo doo bow. All right, last question. Cryptid Hunter says, do you think Chuck would have liked Dean's death? How would he write that? Well, it's a great bookend to our little conversation here because we started talking about Dean's death. I don't think Dean would have died on Chuck's watch. Not in that way. Because I think he just wanted something. He wanted something dramatic and big and you know, something to take your breath away. Something that gets, you know, that's award worthy. You know, and I think the point of Dean's death and why I think it was appropriate and well written is that the point is that it's just another Tuesday for those guys. It's just life carrying on after Chuck. They're writing their own story, and he gets killed in the act of duty, and it's awful. And the brothers have to say goodbye to each other. It's so sad. The point is, I think Chuck was manipulating it so much. He wanted this big thing, and he wanted to be involved, and he wanted this huge thing and some grandiose thing, and it wasn't that. So I think Chuck is so egotistical that he wanted it to be this big, huge thing that involved him, and so taking him out of the picture, it's just another day for those boys, and he got killed in the act of duty, and you know, you don't have there's no angels or you know, even like Rowena or anybody to come and save them and miraculously save them. They're just human beings, and you know, anyway, endings are hard, right? But I think it was really well done, and I think I like that they wound up together at the end in heaven, and I just love the acting that they did. I thought they were both brilliant in that scene. So, well, guys, apparently I have to go now. I see your questions. I love you so much. Thank you so much. Come to a convention in 2021, 2022. We're not going anywhere. We're going to keep doing them. So when this COVID thing is over, which it will be, we'll see each other again. And I can't wait. I can't wait to see you both all in person. Sending you so much love. Thank you so much. I'll see you later. Bye.
Rob, we're sending love right back to you. And thank you for being here today and being part of this mega super celebration. We can't wait to see you again in person. But until then, we're going to be tuning into your podcast, and we can't wait for your upcoming projects. Okay, guys, tipping is now done, and we're going to bring the results in just a few moments. But first, make sure you're signed up for our email list on our website, creationent.com, and follow us on social media at CreationENT on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram for announcements. We're also doing a giveaway on social media to ask Misha a question on stage live during his panel tomorrow. So make sure you're following us on social media to make sure to see how you can enter. Our winner is Abby Road. Abby Road, you're our winner. So we're going to contact you right now and give you the link. Congratulations. And we'll be back tomorrow with Misha Collins and Jared Padalecki.